They're doing the Last of Us TV show, and they're doing a Metal Gear Solid movie at some point.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, they've been talking about that.
Oscar Isaac.
Yep. Sounds like a whole bunch of fucking propaganda to me.
Said the Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
Listen. I just run around and just shoot people,
Pew,
bro.
pew. 6 days in Fallujah.
So does the American Armed Forces. Look into it.
Can that be the intro?
Yep, that's the intro.
Shit, go, baby.
Yep, let's do it.
You're just gonna get so many people pissed off. Don't ever invite that white boy back to your fucking podcast ever again.
We're gonna get so many emails. That we back. All right, microphone check 1 2. What is this? Let's get it. It's your boys on the mic. People's Podcast. We are back once again. I'm your boy Radio Raheem. I got my family with me. I got SR
Justice.
Esco.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure there's no food in your mouth.
Like, I'm not like this nigga, bro.
Oh, okay.
I know what to do.
Yo, but we had another special guest today on the People's Podcast. Who? We got. Oh, is this technically like a crossover like episode? I don't know. Is there like licensing things that I need to worry about?
Yeah, did you not sign the paperwork?
The waiver?
The waiver that my lawyer, my attorney, my team of attorneys sent to you?
I can't read, so no.
We got ourselves a genuine Capcom versus SNK crossover, boyos.
Which one are we?
Oh, Capcom. He's got to be SNK.
Wait, why does he have to be SNK?
Because Capcom is more mainstream. He also knows more niche games for like actual fighting.
Damn, I should have worn my Fatal Fury hat here.
See,
Nerd.
Are you okay?
Yeah, okay, all right. So we got a very special guest here to talk some shit with SR. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, I'm Dorian.
That is the clip for
That's
also known as Rengoku.
That's my name. Don't wear it out. Oh damn! I should have picked Rengoku.
Why is it so
Hey, it's your boy Rengoku.
Ren for short.
Ren.
R-E-N spells Ren, but I'm raw.
Yeah.
All right. So, God, that was an interesting intro. Please clip that for the.
All right.
You know what to do.
Be sure to timestamp that, guys. Timestamp all
Chat,
you
clip that.
all you Warframe lovers. Timestamp that. They got no good builds nowadays, you know.
Wait, Warframe?
Warframe?
Explain the Warframe. Explain the Warframe reference.
I'm just talking out of my ass, but he knows what it is.
Are they going to cancel us? Are they like the Beehive?
No. Well, you got a couple white knights out there.
Like they're white or like they're just.
Nah, they're just like stands.
Sounds
Like
problematic.
JoJo.
The singer?
Siwa, dog.
Oh,
I'm just
I was
playing.
like,
No, neither one of them.
Okay, I'm about to say you better leave her alone. Leave JoJo
Talking
alone.
about stands, baby.
Yeah, stands.
JoJo's
Like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre Bazingas.
I never saw the
Stands,
movie.
baby.
Oh,
It's a show.
You guys haven't watched JoJo's?
I have.
I have.
JoJo's is sick.
I might have watched it on accident.
I was kind of a hater until I played the old game, the Capcom game, Heritage for the Future. That game is fucked up.
What do you mean fucked up?
It's broken as shit. It's just like there's just the best fighting games are ones where you can just get away with dumb shit.
Yeah.
And every character's kind of got dumb shit that you just have to figure out how to deal with it. Say, for example, a low sweep. Someone just keeps spamming a low sweep. They keep low sweeping you over and over and over again. You keep falling on your ass, and you can't figure out how to deal with it. You have to adapt. You have to adapt to survive. That's one of the many lessons, actually, that I've learned from a movie that I saw recently. But we'll get to that.
Yeah,
We'll
I was
get
just
to that.
going
We'll
to
get
say,
to that.
yeah, I was
Well,
like,
it was
that's,
like
that's actually literally right from Mortal Kombat.
That's a really good segue into our topic or topics.
Can you tell I've podcasted before?
Oh, man.
That was
yes.
beautiful. That was beautiful.
That was very beautiful.
That was a beaut, man.
SNK1 Capcom Zip.
Okay,
Let's
wait,
go.
wait.
I'll put a foghorn in Waseka screaming.
And just like that. Just like that.
That was perfect.
Yeah, the one time now you want to be loud? That's crazy.
That's the
sorry.
second time now.
Right. Okay, so Mortal Kombat. So, okay, we're going to talk about two things that kind of coincide together. The idea of video game movies existing and also at the same time reviewing the Mortal Kombat film that came out on HBO Max. HBO Max, where HBO is to the max. I don't know. That's a horror.
Nigga, no.
Yep.
That's very creative.
Yep, it is. I think it is. He hating. He should be hating. Cool guy Kasanga over here. Jesus Christ. But
Expose him.
CKG, baby. No, CGK. There you go.
you don't even know your own damn name. That's crazy. So this review, whatever you want to call it, is technically between y'all two.
It's
right?
a roast. What do you mean?
No, not you. SR.
SR?
SR and Dorian.
All right.
Because, they've been bantering back and forth, the war of words. It has all come down to this. For once, I'm not part of a conflict.
It's not true because you agree with my side, just not for the same reasons.
Oh, did you take a side?
Yeah, you did. Don't
You
let him.
sided against me?
I think it's buns.
Is that why you put me on this couch by myself?
Actually, no, that's where all the guests sit.
I enjoyed it.
All right.
Yeah.
You got 2 for 2.
Esco, there's a spot right here for you.
Well, hold on. Wait. we'll get to... Actually, let's get to it now. Let's get to the shits. So, we got 2 that enjoy it. 2... Okay, but you're more extreme than I am. I just say it's buns.
Okay, yeah, and he's more extreme than him. You guys are the 2 medians.
That's very true. Yeah.
Meaty.
Esco and Radio switch places, and then we've got like the full
Fam, I'm not
the
moving
full
my mic.
continuum of opinions.
I'm not moving my mic.
No, but like hypothetically,
Yeah,
switch.
hypothetically, yeah.
You switch the 2 of you, and we've got the full
Our
continuum
fortiori.
left to right
Like-
of
It's our
Good.
fortiori. from
thought
the
it was
chair.
good to
Can
thought
we,
it was bad.
Can we cut our figures out in the video and just switch? That would look weird.
If you make a
actually.
tier list of like good to bad, I'm the top of the tier list.
He's S tier, dude.
I'm S tier.
Well, isn't
Speaking
that
of-
kind of wait? How is he?
And SR
He's
is
just being he's
trash
just-
tier, baby.
See, he's just talking shit. But like, listen
I see
here
what
though.
happened there.
I
Okay.
actually can we talk about this at some point too during this episode? Because I used the somebody's YouTube video who was making a tier list of the characters in that movie, and I made a tier list. I think it's pretty fair too. Like I think it's pretty fair. I'd like to
Wait,
talk
is
about
it
that.
really that hard of a tier list if Raiden's at the top and everybody else was trash, except for maybe Sub-Zero and Scorpion?
Raiden's kind of trash.
Raiden
Fuck that
wasn't at the top at all
Are we talking about just abilities or in the movie?
in the movie.
Oh.
yeah, not power. So not power scaling. Power scaling would be different. It'd be Raiden, then Shang Tsung, then some other people like Sub-Zero probably because they had to jump him. They
May I
still couldn't
briefly
beat him.
interject with my favorite Raiden line from the movie
Oh my god, yes.
when he says, he just nods. The delivery,
I was like,
Imagine
waiting.
the closed
The del-
captioning on that puppy.
the delivery was impeccable. You know when he says,
That was probably the best line in the movie, though.
Chef's
But,
smooch.
well, actually, the
Wow.
second best line in the movie, this first best line in the movie was, Raiden, can you teleport anyone, anywhere?
and that's what he says. He says,
He asked a stupid fucking question after Raiden had already displayed that at least 2 or 3 times before.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that. All right, but I do want to talk about the tier list at some point because I feel like you and I will actually agree on that one. I do.
Okay.
What's this
Yeah.
tier list based off of?
It's based off of like who was like
like coolest.
a strong representation or like did cool in the movie or like was like not just a slouch.
Yeah, we can probably. I feel like that's maybe the least controversial part of that movie.
Yeah.
Is like you see the way that people responded to characters in that movie. It's
Okay.
pretty unanimous. I feel
So I'm guessing, let me guess then, Scorpion Sub-Zero top tier.
No.
Really?
I put Sub-Zero at S tier, Scorpion at A.
Wait, that's top tier.
like. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think they're on the same tier.
You didn't put the guy who said, "I came back from hell to kill you"
No.
in S tier, and then got stabbed with his own blood.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, the guy.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
The reason why I didn't put him in S tier is because he still almost lost to Sub-Zero had he not had help from Cole.
Yeah, who the fuck is that nigga?
You know what I mean? Like,
Can we get to that first?
I thought he was. I thought the actor was incredible. Though. Okay, well let's actually like.
Wait, the actor for Scorpion?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah,
oh,
he's
yeah.
awesome. But I just was like, and his depiction of him was top tier. But it was just like, oh man,
What was missing?
an actual
Nothing.
like a revenge arc that made more sense without adding this other character and for help.
Okay, so in theory, if like say the second movie like clears that up, does that movie's tier up?
There's a second movie?
There's gonna be like 4.
Yeah,
The actor who played Sub-Zero,
Signed for
Joe
what?
Toslim,
Yeah.
is signed on to play Sub-Zero in 7 more movies.
I
Now,
heard 4.
7 was the last rumor I heard.
which could be true because it could
But
also be animated or anything.
They could,
else.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They could be spin-offs. They could be like animated, whatever.
Gotcha.
So that doesn't mean there's going to be 8 mainline Mortal Kombat movies,
Yeah.
but
Interesting.
they're planning on doing stuff.
I would even watch them make. What's that? The Sub-Zero game, Mortal Kombat, whatever Sub-Zero.
for 64.
I had it on PS1 also, but like
Yeah.
that one.
Anthologies.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I could see them trying to make that better than it was, but like having him be like solo, almost like follow him because they don't really explain how this also normal person, well, besides his cryomancy, like is still alive that entire time, which like isn't necessarily a plot hole. It isn't because like
Okay.
Mortal Kombat's weird like that, but they felt the need to explain Arcana, but not the fact that like Sub-Zero never died, I guess, from like a long time ago.
Okay, so let's then go down the line
yeah.
and then talk about our likes and dislikes.
Let's
And
start with.
we'll debate.
Can
I
we
guess.
start with likes? Actually, like strengths. I feel like that would be
Okay.
the best.
Is that
Yeah.
gonna? I mean, that's gonna be a short
We'll find
discussion.
we'll
for
find
me,
some
but-
common ground.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also think it's always good to fight for strengths when we're being critical of stuff, anyways, instead of just shitting on it. You know what I mean?
That's powerful, man.
What?
Unless it's like a
Yeah.
little
Find some
Yachty
common
album.
ground.
yeah, I think it's good.
I like the way you think, Bubby.
Yeah. Okay, that's fire.
Yeah, Isaiah trying to. He's like, yo,
You trying to start some shit, bro.
yeah,
Isaiah's trying to fight.
yeah. Well,
I just couldn't find a lot of. Okay, I'll say my piece when I get to it. But why don't we start with you? Oh, humble
yeah,
guest.
because you're leading the charge with
Oh,
strengths.
well, stop me
Well, 'cause
when
then-
it gets to be too much. Because this movie is a flawless. No, that's not true.
Victory?
That's not true.
I was like, I don't know if you expressed that to me before.
That's my like SiskelandEbert.com review. Like,
Are they still alive?
this film scores a flawless victory
One
in
of
the
them.
theaters.
Yeah,
Do they actually sound like that? I never actually heard.
I
them.
don't know. I just
Oh, okay, I
they're
know the
kind of
name.
kind of
but-
funny.
Oh, they sound like cornballs. Okay, continue.
dude, look, there's a lot of stories where there is like a universe that is created, and all of these intricate stories kind of weave together, and things make sense. Even if there are fantasy elements, they still have some logic behind them, you know. And it's kind of goofy after a while, where like you take like the Marvel universe, and you're really like stretching to make sense of, okay, some people have superpowers because they have a shit ton of money and like this weird nuclear reactor in their heart. Some people got bit by a radioactive whatever. Some people just grew up with them. They went through puberty and now they're mutants and they're superpowers and not weird mutated freaks. Or are they? It's like it gets really convoluted really fast. And sometimes to have a good time, I don't need you to explain it to me. I don't need you to explain, like, okay, that's cool. There's a nether realm and the outworld and the earth realm. I don't need you to explain to me why or the origin story of those things. Show me fun shit and give me just enough explanation to get me interested in it, and that's it. You sold me. I don't need to understand where the outworld began and blah, blah, blah. I don't need to know much about like Shang Tsung's origin or anything, or why he can just take people's souls. Just set it up, and then I want to watch the fights, and I want the fights to be good. If the fights are like just really corny, and that's a problem I had, especially with Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah.
That's a movie that like, it's not just that it's really cheesy and bad. It's also like the fights are just
kind of bland.
whack. Like
yeah,
the
they
special
had
effects are
way
corny
more,
as
but they were
fuck and
bland.
take you out of it. You can literally see boom mics and scaffolding in the background of some scenes. It's awful. Sub-Zero can fly for a little bit, but then can't for some reason. Makes no sense. It was like nonsense. And you're like, what the fuck
I
is
did
this?
not see these boom mics.
Yeah, bro, it's weird. That movie was like it was a downgrade. So we can agree. So one plus is that this movie was definitively better than that one. When people say it's not, they're just hurt and upset. I can agree with
Yeah.
that. With
Better than
Annihilation was so big.
Annihilation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
and I
definitely
would
a
agree
plus.
with that too. But then the question comes to mind of, is that really saying much?
Well, it's better than that. I can come up with more than it was better than Annihilation. I think the fight scenes were dope.
Okay.
Like pretty much across the board. Are they realistic? Not at all. It's Mortal Kombat. It's like people have fire powers and ice powers and stuff. But I felt like not only were they fun, not only were they well choreographed and executed, they were also, there was like tension in them. It wasn't just one character beating the fuck out of another, which is something that I liked about the first Mortal Kombat movie. That had some like really good fight scenes, good drama. You kind of had a vested interest in some of them. Not all of them. Some of them you're like, I don't give a shit about. They have not given me a reason to like this character yet.
Yeah.
But this movie did a good job of setting up like, okay, I know that like this reptile guy is clearly bad, and it's cool that they're teaming up, and it's cool that Kano ripped his heart out. And then by the time the finale is essentially the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight, which is like the number one thing that any Mortal Kombat fan wants to see. And they set it up from the beginning. It was
Except
earned.
for me.
They build up that whole conflict like from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to probably, which not to jump too far, but I feel like that's going to fall underneath critiques from Isaiah and I mutually, is that the beginning and end felt like two entirely different. Like the beginning felt like the same movie as the end, but the stuff in the middle felt like an entirely different movie. I don't know if you agree, but like I thought the ending and the beginning were like really strong, right? And it was like, oh, if it felt this way throughout the whole movie, I think it would have been kind of hot. And I think I don't know, like I won't even say like tonally, like something just like changed. Just like there was a lot of weird messes in the middle. But anyways, I don't want to get in there yet. Strengths, so definitely better than Annihilation.
Well, then what do
you
you
like
think
most of the fights?
What do you think then about the fact that they're setting up like basically they're setting up a whole new extended universe, the MKEU, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's clear that they're like just starting some things, starting some rivalries here, putting the like you hate Shang Tsung and you want to like see somebody give him his comeuppance, but it's like you don't quite get there yet. There's all these things that are kind of set up mid-movie, and then the end of the movie is like, well, let's like close the thread on one big rivalry, at least for now. But if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you know,
it's almost like having
people get resurrected, and oops, it's like Sub-Zero's actually a different guy stuck in
that's
Smoke's body and blah blah blah.
So I didn't want to talk about the negatives, but that's the part that confuses me. Is there is a large roster, but I think they kind of had an issue. I think they set themselves up by trying to implement a lot of fan service by having specific characters that are like really popular and have all of them die. Like most of them died besides the protagonist, well, including Kung Lao. And I know people can come back to life or not, but it's like then what happens to the tattoo? The marking, like when they die, do they just get it back, or like I was just I don't know what's going on.
That was an interesting new mechanic. To
me.
Because
I thought that wasn't the
that
worst
is one thing
world,
about like,
but it left holes for me.
Yeah, that is one thing about like Mortal Kombat or any like Marvel and comic books are guilty of this all over the place, where like characters die, but then they can come back to life. So you're like, yeah, Captain America's dead, but like, is he though really? Like, it's like if they can make enough money to make another Captain America thing, they're gonna bring him back. But with the tattoo thing, it's like, okay, now there's this new wrinkle where like you can die and come back to life, but maybe you're not a chosen warrior for Earthrealm now.
You might have to like kill to get back on the, like almost like a rat tail, like you have to kill somebody to get back in.
Right. It adds an interesting new wrinkle. I did think it was kind of corny initially.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny too. Like, I noticed in the trailer for the movie, the interaction between Jax and Cole's daughter, they like reverse the lines. So instead of like what's actually in the movie is
like you were born with it.
Jax says, "What's that? What's with that mark on your chest?" And his daughter says, "It's a birthmark. He was born with it." Mm-hmm. But in the trailer, they changed the order so that she's like, "It's a birthmark." And Jack says, "What's that?" And she says, "It means he was born with it." And I was like, okay, give the movie a little credit. It wasn't quite that dumb. But you know what I mean? They set up some interesting new things that, like, I totally went in with a low bar of expectations. Like, this is just going to be dumb, fun fight scenes. And I found myself, like, the more I was thinking about stuff that happened in the movie, I'm like, yeah, but I wonder what's going to happen with... is this like full spoiler territory?
Yeah,
there's spoilers.
Spoilers.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay. Did you notice? I don't know how nerdy you guys get with Mortal Kombat. You know when the Earth Warriors or whatever went into like that temple where Liu Kang was, and there were all the like
Easter Egg Island.
yeah, exactly. Well, a lot of that was really funny. I noticed there was one scene where there was like graffiti that was just like back B or whatever.
I was so annoyed by
It
that
was
shit.
like,
I was,
Seriously?
there
yeah,
was,
they
like,
just
literal
threw in like the
inputs.
special move command.
Yeah,
I fucking
I was
missed
like,
I
this is-
missed that too. I didn't know that.
I was like, why is that there? And it was just like, I kept wondering if it was like a Thor thing. So I mentioned this before, where it was like I felt like some of those might be Thor 1 nods where it had like the gauntlet and shit, and it was like, or in Ragnarok also where she saw the gauntlet was like fake or whatever, or and then the Tesseract was in Thor 1, or I can't remember what else was there, but it was just like stuff like that. And it's like
The Eye of Agamotto.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I knew it was like it's just like random shit will be somewhere. It's like that was just like for fun. That was still back when Easter eggs were a thing versus like actual stingers. And I was wondering like, because fucking Shinnok's amulet was there, and I'm just like,
Okay.
I'm just like,
Hold
is
that thought.
is that going to be real or is that not? Is that just like,
Hold that thought.
you know?
Hold that thought because I want to come back to that.
Okay.
But compare that to like this was a fan servicey movie as fuck for sure.
I hated that.
Like, yeah, and I'm sure that's a con for you of like Kung Lao sawing that woman in half and then saying Kung Lao flawless victory. It's like it's corny as fuck.
The flaw for me was them killing him.
That was fucked up.
That was
that
my
was
beef.
actually the
That
flaw.
was my beef.
I didn't mind him. That's what I was like. There's things about that stuff. I was like, I don't care. But I was like, he was their most adept and like proficient fighter.
He was the
on
only
their team.
character I cared about in that movie.
Yeah, well, on their team, he was the best fighter, and it was like, but obviously this is before they transitioned Liu Kang to be like, oh, it actually is you and Kung Lao. You're just arrogant because you think because you're related to the great Kung Lao, you think you're gonna be the one, and he's not. It's Liu Kang. Everybody like in the
Yeah,
Liu Kang.
he's gonna-
but he does
so,
always
yeah.
carry that air about him, like I'm carrying like generations of like this, that, and the other, and he's the shit right now. He was visibly like his Arcana was mastered well. I mean, he flawlessly beat somebody.
That's true.
And he helped stop Sub-Zero, I think, was it? Or was that Liu Kang? I can't remember. Who the fuck, like when he shows up, when he like first teleports and shows up, I can't remember who. He like helps.
I think
yeah.
that was Kung Lao.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that
like,
Yeah.
dude was the shit. And like, I didn't like how they did him. I don't want to go into my negatives, but let's talk about positive still before we
Okay,
get into
well,
negatives.
going back to like having a fan servicey ass movie. You guys saw X-Men 3?
Yeah, dude, I love that movie.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love X-Men. You talking about the Juggernaut bitch thing? Okay,
Yeah,
I did like that.
That's
I
corny
fucking-
as fuck.
That
That's
was
like
hilarious.
an example of basically just capitalizing on a meme
Yeah.
and putting that in a movie because some people will like it and laugh at it.
it's the Juggernaut,
That doesn't age well at all. Like you watch it in context of the scene, it's like
It's like
it's real edgelordy. You're like, whatever.
It's
I'm
like-
the Juggernaut. As he's looking into the camera, and you're like, could this get any cornier?
yeah.
And I just felt like Mortal Kombat is the franchise where you can just like
Yeah.
you either go all or nothing. And if I have anything bad to say about Mortal Kombat, it's that like I think that there was a little bit more room for humor and just like
Yeah.
being a little bit silly.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
this is the game with the whoopsie guy.
Yeah.
Like there's some silly shit in all of the Mortal Kombat games.
Well, I think there has been humor that's self-aware, and then there's humor that is like actually just a part of the story, but it's like it is lighter because I guess the situations are more crazy. So it's like they're ironically being self-serious in a way. Where like the tone is like serious, but clearly it's like this is ridiculous what you're saying and doing. And then sometimes there's jokes, but yeah, I guess. Shit. Well,
Can I tell you my favorite funny part of the movie?
Yeah.
They get to like meet Liu Kang, and he's talking and starts explaining about like their destiny and stuff. And at one point, he kind of like puts his
Yep.
hand on Kano's shoulder, and he's like, "You are the chosen Earth Warrior." And Kano's just like, "What the fuck?" And, like,
He was like, the fuck?
yeah, just go the fuck like louder than anything.
Bro.
I just like that part too because Liu Kang is lazy as fuck. He XP shared the fuck out of that. He was like, I have found you, and he's like, no, they found y'all.
Yeah, he did it.
Like they did most of the work at least, and he was just like walking up on a hill, was like, "Oh, I did this. It was me."
XP share.
It's like, what the fuck? It's like just because you touching on me, you get this XP, bitch.
What the?
That's
fuck?
how he got to where he was, hanging out with Kung Lao.
That fucking
The
EXP
XP share.
Yeah,
is
he XP
fucking
share.
serious.
The XP share. This is gonna switch now. Yeah, it's like, god damn it. But he literally was just like, "Hello, I have finally found you." And it's like,
You're like, oh my god, Liu Kang was not the same Liu Kang, bro. Like,
yeah, not yet at least. I do like how they kind of changed it to hopefully build him up, but it does explain why
They're
he's
better.
more humble than Kung Lao also. But they're supposed to be cousins, not like he's some fucking orphan. But whatever. I mean,
wait,
who cares?
really?
Yeah, they're
Like
cousins.
in the game and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're cousins.
Let me ask you this, because we're all thinking it. There's so many good choices for a main character in Mortal Kombat. We've kind of seen like Liu Kang be the protagonist, especially in the movies. We've seen Johnny Cage be the protagonist in like the newer games. Like there's a grab bag of like charismatic characters that could be the forefront, the protagonist, the good guy. And none of us are happy that it's Cole, right?
Yeah, we can agree on that.
That's like the one unanimous thing where it's like
He is
even
the
if you
unifier.
and I do like that actor Louis Tan. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he's
me too.
great.
Yeah, me too.
I think that there's potential with the character to be interesting, but it was just like they did not really do enough for you to like love that character. His power was getting hit a lot.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that I feel like this movie,
Some Black Panther type.
any way you spin the rest of this series, this movie was pointless. I genuinely believe that this movie will be useless because if this sequel is better, it's because it fixed everything about the first one.
That's
And it's like,
insane.
yeah, well,
That's crazy.
I'll explain later.
That's hatred.
I'll explain later. I'll just feel like
This man is a hater.
I'll explain why later, but I think another strength, like I said, every interaction, anytime Sub-Zero was on screen, good God, dude carried, bro. Sub-Zero was fire.
Yeah, okay,
He
so
was so fun.
I agree.
He was ice. I guess.
was cold.
Yeah, he was cold.
He
That
was
motherfucker
cold,
was
bro.
cold.
Ice in his veins.
And then I like the Scorpion, Spirit of Vengeance shit. I also like that he lost, no matter how much of a fan Ed Boon is. He had to have lost to be who he is, and then he also he really was about to lose again. Come on.
Yep.
He
You're
really
right.
was. Like,
You're right.
He
Wait,
was
who
about
was?
to lose. Scorpion was going to lose again in that last fight.
Oh,
even
yeah.
though I know that's kind of
Yeah, they needed to go 2-on-1 to seal the deal.
Yeah.
Which does, like,
Elevate.
Sub-Zero is definitely coming. Like, that is the most verified thing about whatever sequels or anything are
Yeah,
made,
he's-
is that Sub-Zero is going to come back.
as Noob Saibot.
Yeah, we'll see if they do the whole, like,
I believe it because like
there's also, like, Cyborg
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, and I just feel like I'd
They're
be
gonna do
sad
that.
if they did that
Oh,
shit from
I-
Mortal Kombat. Was that Armageddon or X?
I want to say
One of the
Armageddon.
two.
Wait,
Yeah.
Sub-Zero becoming new Cybot, like, is that like
Yeah.
a thing that happens?
That's
in the game?
that's actually Noob Saibot is Bihan, and then Kuai Liang is the new Sub-Zero. It's his
Basically, in Mortal Kombat 3, here's another thing that I love about the Mortal Kombat lore is that there's so much shit that's like canon,
brother. Yeah.
and it's based entirely on what the developers had to do to just make the games.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, the thing that happened with Sub-Zero is that he died. He got brought back to life and had a different appearance. He looked like a completely different person. And then we come to find out, like, the original version of him was, like, brought back to life as Noob Saibot.
Yeah.
What happened is that when Mortal Kombat 3 was made, they couldn't get the same guy to play Sub-Zero. So they got a new actor. And then they came up with some harebrained shit to explain why he looked different.
Red scar. But
Yeah.
But the thing, the reason why I assumed he was going to be Noob Saibot is because as he was getting beat up, all his blue armor was flying off, and he was wearing all black, and then he got burnt to a crisp, but didn't he was still like physically, and he just kind of like faded into the ground, like he just like faded, teleported versus like whatever the fuck else could have happened. So I was like, that's Noob Saibot now. Like I feel like that's gonna be Noob Saibot personally.
Yeah,
but
it makes sense.
I really liked him. I thought he was a great character.
And what a great villain too, where
Yes,
like
yeah, that made me sad, though.
he's powerful enough that nobody seems to be able to beat him in 1-on-1 at all.
Yeah,
like not even by a.
Well, which means
positive.
that the tournament would have been won anyways had they not cheated. And I was like, don't you guys get that? Shake Song, why would you tweet?
But history is hard to argue with, where the Earth Warriors keep winning. Or wait,
they keep stopping it from. So
okay, because I got it
is
mixed up where it was basically like there's one point in the video games where the problem is like Shang Tsung and all the bad guys have to cheat because Earthrealm keeps winning.
Yeah,
like
keeps
Liu
staving it
Kang
off.
keeps crushing it.
Yep, and then that's when Shao Kahn.
But I think in the movie wasn't it the opposite where like
so
they just need one more tournament to take over Earthrealm.
Yeah,
and
that is the actual story, and then that's when the first video game and all that shit starts is the 10th tournament, and Liu Kang, that's the first time he staves it off, and they're like, fuck. And he does it, like, God damn it. And they're like, you know what? We're just going to invade Earth anyways. Like, Shao Kahn was just like, nah, I'm gonna cheat. I'm just do it anyways.
But isn't that what people in power who are villainous do, is they just get greedy?
Yeah.
That's their only downfall, is how greedy they get.
That's fair, yeah. But, so Sub-Zero was fire. I really liked the opening, felt like the way I thought the rest of the movie could have went.
Yep.
And the ending, outside of Cole's existence there, I felt like the rest of it could have been like that. I think it was different. I think a lot of other characters were kind of flat, and they weren't really strong interpretations. Not all of them, except for Kano.
Oh my god.
Yo,
But he talked too much, but he was pretty spot on.
Although
he's pretty spot on.
Kano's character was actually pretty freaking funny in the movie.
He carried
it was funny.
the Earthrealmers. A fucking heel
Again,
villain.
is that really saying much?
It's not, because everybody should have been that good.
Yeah.
Everybody should be acting the way their characters are acting instead of like wooden robots. But he was the bomb.
Yeah, the more I think about the movie, I think my least favorite character, even like worse than Cole, out of all the Earthrealmers, was Sonya Blade. It's just biggest disappointment was like she just kind of, she doesn't even really have any good lines.
She was
or
in the
anything.
movie.
Yeah, she is. I thought it was cool that they kind of build up her arc. Is like
Yeah.
she finally gets the tattoo at
And
the
she's
end.
like, which
yeah,
I
but
didn't even
like
care about that.
what a non-character for so much. Like her only job is to basically explain what Mortal Kombat is to Cole.
Which is it was like his only job was to have stuff explained to in a way, and then her only job was to explain stuff to him.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's like
I legit for the longest time thought that Cole was Liu Kang. I don't know why.
Like, or just like taking that spot, or would be like,
So wait, what did you think when Liu Kang was on the screen?
I was like,
Were you just like,
who's
what the
this bony
fuck?
I was
ass?
like, wait a minute.
Did he use Shadow Clone Jutsu?
Yeah, what's going on here? And I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Janet, Marty.
You know,
Who are you people?
you know who I thought it was when I
I
first saw the
so
trailer?
confused,
Take-
who the fuck
Takeda?
is he? Is this supposed
No,
to
I
be-
thought it was the dude from The Protector. The dude that fights Goldberg. Or no, not fights Goldberg.
Tony Jaa?
That's not even Goldberg. But
He looks like Goldberg, though.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
who you're talking about.
but before Goldberg shows up, after he fights the Capoeira dude, there's the fucking dude with the swords.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was him.
Oh,
Yeah,
And I was like, no, you don't look like you're in One Tree Hill.
What's funny is the guy who played the Goldberg dude he played Reiko. That's him
That
Oh,
is.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
why
The
does he
dude
look
from,
familiar? That was killing me.
from Troy who got stabbed in the neck at the beginning. The guy
Okay.
from Mad
Oh,
Max.
man.
That was
This is
killing
my baby
me.
brother.
I was like,
That's him.
why does he look familiar? That was killing me. Okay, I feel better about that now.
Yeah.
Dude, that was kind of cool. Like, I didn't realize that, like, the movie did reach beyond my Mortal Kombat lore knowledge, because I didn't realize that Reiko was an existing
Yeah,
character.
Reiko's real.
I was like, yeah, they made up more than just Cole. They made up that Reiko guy. And I think I was talking with you, and you were like, nah, dude.
He's a general. He's a general for Shao Kahn, and it was back in the day. People kept thinking, because that was when Shao Kahn wasn't there, and Reiko was there, so people kept thinking it was Shao Kahn in disguise, like in the game, and it was gonna be like a twist. Because his ending, he puts on the skull mask, and it was really just because he was like trying to coup essentially and like vie for power, since Shao Kahn was going after he got his ass beat by Liu Kang, like for the second time or whatever. And so people was like, "Oh, is that actually him?" So I did think it was cool that like he carried a hammer and shit like Shao Kahn, because I'm like, I guess that's the closest thing we'll get to right now to if in the games people mistake him for Shao Kahn, it's kind of cool to see like this giant dude is like with the hammer. It's like, okay, so maybe they'll make Shao Kahn actually like a big fucking guy.
Yeah, and I
instead of
think
the dude from Annihilation.
that's the thing, is I think like in the same way that like Avengers built up to Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
I think like Shao Kahn's going to be closer to like the big payoff of like sticking with the big story, watching these like storylines come together, and then like Shang Tsung drops the ball, can't get the job done, and Shao Kahn's got to come in and get shit done, and it's a big epic event.
His role too. That's a good point because he is just kind of like, fuck it, I'll do it myself, and I'm not following no, like I don't care. Like I'm just gonna invade. I forgot what his loophole was because it technically part of it was a loophole. It was cheating, but it was a loophole. I can't remember what it was.
We'll find out
Yeah.
in the next
12
7
movies. Well, okay, so I will say this.
Uh-huh.
I have some positives, not many. Now, granted, I went in with no expectations.
Rightfully
All right.
so. Rightfully so.
I want to put that out there now. No expectations, right? Because at this point, I forgot what the fucking first 2 Mortal Kombat movies were about. They're erased from memory at this point, except that Shawn Michaels played Raiden.
Wait,
That was not.
So that definitely was a Mandela effect.
Nah, dude,
And it
that
got
was the
erased from-
Highlander.
Yeah, dude.
Was it actually the Highlander?
was-
Yeah, Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, it
makes me
was
even sadder.
Sting. No, just play.
it was James Remar.
Wait,
Did you say Sting?
Sting the singer too.
I know.
No, not Sting.
I was going to say Phil Collins, but
No, the second one was. Have you guys seen The Warriors?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Ajax, the one who like wanted to fight everybody. That's like he played Raiden in.
They replaced. I didn't even know they
And
replaced
he did a
Raiden.
bad job.
Yeah, he did.
He's
a bad
like
job.
he's also been in like a couple Quentin Tarantino movies and just a bunch of stuff all over the place. But that was like,
Yeah, was he in Inglourious Bastards?
I don't think so. But he played 2 different characters in Django.
Who do you play in Django?
He played Jamie
was-
Foxx. I'm a dude. Oh fuck.
You sure it wasn't Robert Downey Jr.?
Okay, he is one of the guys that's like driving the slave cart in the beginning of the movie. Not the one who's like, state your business or prepare to get Wayne, but he's the other guy with a shotgun who's like, oh, no closer. And he gets fucking slaughtered in that scene,
Okay.
amazingly. And then he's also one of Candy's like henchmen, just hanging out playing billiards and wearing a bowler hat and smoking a pipe and like looking real ornery.
That's so funny.
Also gets slaughtered in that scene. So twice in
Yeah.
the same movie he gets murdered
he's
in
the one-
the
he's the
in
one
the
in the
scene
movie.
that his character first appears. Twice in the same movie.
But
Fodder.
okay. So positives.
Yeah.
Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Kung Lao. Are
I'd say
Kung Lao is a positive for you
yeah. Kung
because
Lao-
that's your boy. That's your favorite.
That's my guy.
Kung Lao was
I
a
literally
positive.
told him, I was like, I'm only watching this movie to see Kung Lao throw his hat, and he did.
He did a couple times.
But then he died, and I was like, no, I need more hat throwing. So I was, which we'll get to the negatives here in a second. But those 3 were my positives.
Okay.
Were those 3? The movie should have just been about those 3, to be honest. But I know there's more characters, and it's like blah 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 blah. But everyone else was forgettable to me. And
In the
how much-
new Mortal Kombat?
yeah, everyone else is
Yeah.
fucking forgettable to me.
Oh, I liked Cabal.
Cabal was fun.
Yeah. They didn't give him a lot of time, which
That
we'll,
was
we'll
my
get
issue
into
with-
the
yes.
we'll get into the negatives for character stuff, but
Fuck, let's just do it now because I'm about to rant.
okay.
Yeah, just go off.
I'm about to rant.
Yeah, we'll chime in. We'll interrupt you and chime in.
You've been so quiet and patient with me
Right.
being like, I love this
No.
movie.
I'm-
so much fun. Yeah.
But it
And you're
turns out
just
we
sitting
actually,
there
like,
like
it turns out me and him actually
seething.
agree about a decent amount of stuff.
Well, no. So like, here's the thing. I won't fault anyone that likes it and is like, whatever. The movie was fun.
Square up.
Like, you know, like
No, I'm just kidding.
I won't fault anyone for that.
Sure.
And this is coming from a nothing. I came no expectations. I was like, all right, let's just watch this and see what happens. I watched no reviews, no nothing, no. I tried to avoid social media because I was like, let me make sure my mind's not tainted before I watch this fucking movie.
Right.
I watch it, and the first like 12 to 7 minutes or whatever, dope.
Yeah.
Awesome, solid. It kind of reminds me of fucking Sekiro.
Yeah,
or
strong,
some shit.
strong
It was
thesis,
real
strong opener,
fucking dope,
strong
right?
opener.
Then the rest of the movie happens. I totally forget it. Kano's fucking annoying.
Perfect, which means that he's
Kano-
doing his job. Yeah.
Is fucking. But it was like, okay. There's a difference between like trying to be funny and then being funny and it being thrown in my fucking face.
Yeah.
First off, why is the fuck does he sound like he's from fucking New Jersey?
He's Australian. He sounds like he's Australian.
Are there Australians in New Jersey?
No,
Like,
Then
but
why
he's
the
not
fuck
Australian
does he
character.
sound-
What are you talking about?
No, there could be. It's like no.
Yeah, that was a dumb
Okay,
thing
wait,
to
wait,
say.
wait, wait.
No, there are 0 Australians in New
Absolutely
Jersey. What are you
none.
talking
Well,
about? That's
it's not
crazy.
dangerous
There,
enough.
there might not be. Did we see any Australians when we stayed in Jersey?
How dare you insinuate that there are
I
Australians in New
don't know.
Jersey?
Yeah, how dare you? As if it was lethal enough to rain.
Did we see any didgeridoos?
in Australia?
Didgeridoos.
In New Jersey?
Yeah.
No.
All right, so there are no fucking Australians in New Jersey. So why Kano sounds like that is fucking beyond
It
me.
sounded Australian to me.
Yeah, how does Kano wins sound like New Jersey?
Are we listening to the same fucking thing? Look,
Bro, I'm just imagining Kano now with like
Kano wins.
super gelled back hair and like a white tank top. It's just like
Hey,
he's just like
No, my headphones.
he's just like, hey bro.
He wasn't a Jersey Shore
Kano
douche.
wins.
It was
your
a Jim
mother.
But-
Okay, but Kano's a fuck. He
You shots? You shots? You do shots?
no Kano. Oh my god! Like I don't.
And when am I gonna get my superpowers?
Oh my
He got
god!
denied a fucking egg roll.
That egg roll looked good.
He
Homie
was
got-
racist.
Homie got upset.
Racist fuck.
Bro.
That dinner scene.
Bro.
that food looked
They're
yummy.
recasting.
bro.
Did you actually see they did release some more rumors about the upcoming sequel where they're gonna cast the situation as Kano coming back from the dead?
I might actually enjoy that better. That's how
The
I
situation of Jersey Shore fame, he's gonna come back and he's
GM10
gonna,
and laundry.
And
Yeah.
the Miz is Johnny Cage.
that was a rumor, and I hope that happens.
Snooki is Sonya
He
Blade.
would be a dope Johnny Cage, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Wait,
Oh, Snooki and JWoww are Katana and Melina.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
the Jersey Shore
Jersey
girl?
Shore,
It's the
baby.
Jersey Shore Mortal Kombat shared
Yeah,
universe.
You are
Yeah, dude.
swine.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
bad.
JSMK.
My bad. I had a fucking
JS
life, and I didn't
oh my
fucking
God, so
watch
many levels.
Jersey
That's
fucking
yeah.
Shore.
There is like no shame in not watching Jersey Shore.
Although my mom watched it and she loved it.
Wolf.
Yeah, I know.
So
I roasted her.
okay, so you're mad. at-
explains
yeah,
a lot.
Kano was too much.
And
didn't
everyone,
like it.
everybody was like, "Oh, Kano carried the movie, nigga. Not hard to do."
yeah, it's
Sonya
that's-
Blade, underwhelming.
Yeah.
Liu Kang, who?
Flat.
Jax, Steve Harvey.
I thought he was like
fucking.
a porn star, bro.
Oh, we'll get.
The mustache.
Reptile was kind of dope actually.
And it was the real Reptile.
Short-lived, short-lived Reptile.
Yeah, they
Short-lived.
did. Yeah, they made-
Cabal,
he was a jobber.
short-lived. Fucking Melina,
Melina.
thick.
Dumb stick.
Yeah.
But
Is that Frost?
Lord have mercy.
Ooh, she kind of bad though. Is that
bad.
Frost?
We're referencing a video. If you don't know what it is, check it out in our comments.
Don't get me started on Goro.
Okay, that was
was
my
the-
big
that was the
nigga.
biggest
Are you
example.
telling me?
That was the biggest example of them not caring about characters as much as they
my.
swore they did.
No. I'm gonna say that was a bold move in building Cole as a character, and it didn't work because we didn't like Cole.
Well,
No. That's not why that didn't
okay,
work.
But I will
Get-
say
that's
that
not why that
it
didn't
also
work.
didn't make sense because Cole lost every fight before that.
And Goro is who?
Because he didn't have his
reigning
Arcana
champion.
yet.
Someone explain who Goro is.
Goro is the 9-time. Well,
He didn't have his golden sweater yet.
and the Golden Fleece.
the golden fucking Under Armour.
Mithril. He didn't have his
fucking-
Mithril.
Mithril armor.
Fam, you're telling me Cole, who could
Let me
not
put on my golden
win
rash guard.
a fucking fight,
Even
beats
against regular
a
people.
9-time gigantoid.
400-year-old nine
With
time
forearms.
prince.
An experience. I really hope Shiva comes back and rips his throat out.
Dude, Shiva stomp spamming.
Spam
She's gonna
all
spam
over.
the stomp.
Yeah,
I
spam the stomp.
guarantee.
Let
You know how
Shiva
many?
come back, please.
They're-
You know how
fan
many
service.
little nods there
Yeah.
were? Like the whole sweeping
gonna-
scene.
Yeah.
If
they're-
you played a Mortal Kombat game and you saw Kano get swept by the sweep
Yeah.
3 times in a
was
row,
pretty
if
funny.
you didn't laugh at that,
That was pretty funny.
I don't
I was
know you,
annoyed,
man.
but it was funny. I was like,
yeah, it was like that was
actually funny because
I didn't pick up on
as a
that.
softball. You're like, yeah, I've been there.
I didn't
like,
pick up on it the first time.
Like, fuck that AI, but yeah,
But, yeah.
Shiva's they're if she's in it, they're gonna do the spam.
The Shiva
Thank
stomp,
you. That
for
would be
sure.
very
They
funny.
need to. Cole needs to die in the next movie.
Either he gets better, which means that the first
No,
movie,
no big gets better. Fuck that shit. You already fucked it up. Kill Cole before the fucking credits start.
oh, like how
Alright.
they did Duke and
Yes,
G.I. Joe.
yes. Kill him before the credits even
Yo,
start.
they did do that man dirty though.
All right, or like just don't put him in the movie. Fuck that guy. He beats Goro. Get the fuck out of here, right?
Yeah, because he's so strong.
Yeah, did you
Anyway.
not see his armor?
It was a golden fleece.
Yeah.
That was fucking bullshit. All right, so
Whoa.
when people are like, yeah, Kano carried the movie, let's fucking go down the list and see who he fucking carried.
The man
That's
with
like
the
fucking-
golden compression
That's
gear.
like fucking putting LeBron James in a high school basketball team. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, man,
He was the
sounds
only
fair.
one acting like an actual actor.
Oh
And
my
a little bit
God.
hammed up. But
It was
well,
like,
like I said, Sub-Zero he did good too, and so did Scorpion.
we needed more Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
They did really good.
And
jobs.
they're gonna bring that back. They're gonna keep coming back to life and killing each other, which
Yeah, 'cause-
I'm all about it.
Yeah, because those
Keep
two,
doing that.
They
Keep
even
doing that.
show that those two specifically aren't going on. Because like I said, Bihan he like fizzled into the ground versus
Yeah.
like so like they're not done.
Also,
He's-
we're all on the same page that Kano is going to come back from the dead because
Wait, Kano done it?
we all saw the
That's what I
scene.
said, pretty much.
We all saw the
that's how
scene.
Sonya got her powers. Yeah,
We all saw the scene where he tried to steal the amulet of Shinnok.
yeah.
And we all saw the scene where he put it back, or no, did he not put it back?
Nobody
He still has the amulet of Shinnok after he died.
Just on the trailer park.
See, I forgot he died. That's how much he pissed me off.
Or he gave it to them.
No, I think he kept that shit because
Oh, that'd be even more fucked
That's
up.
what I was like. Or he gave it to.
That's a
Shang
little
Tsung.
too. That's a little too selfless. He would be bargaining with
Well,
that
they already
shit.
asked him to zap the staff, and he did it. But I guess that is true.
Now he would use that as a bargaining chip for something for himself.
Yeah, maybe
Because that's
a good
Kano,
point.
you know.
My thing is that if they do something, okay, this is like projecting that doesn't make it. It's totally unnecessary. But I wonder if Bihan goes to the Nether Realm and decides to
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero decides to work for Quan Chi instead of Quan Chi.
What'd you say, Bihan?
Because that's his real name.
That's his real name.
Sorry.
I don't give a fuck
Because
about his
there's two
real
different
name,
there's
nigga.
two different Sub-Zeros.
All right.
Sorry, the only Sub-Zero in that movie. The only Sub-Zero in that movie that we know of. Okay, so like
Esco said code names only.
what if he decide when he's in the Nether Realm, he basically decides to work for Quan Chi instead of it being Quan Chi who was the instead like basically like his wraith for revenge to get back out, almost the same way like Scorpion was done.
Wait, has it
So it's like almost in reverse. Because they
Could
like,
be.
Scorpion was just like tethered to his wife's gardening tool, I guess. But like,
a hoe?
but like, sorry, go ahead.
Dude, okay, that shit was sick though because that.
It's a garden
All right,
tool.
all right, okay. I know if that's the only context you have, that's corny as fuck. But that every like Japanese weapon you can think of that is not a sword was a gardening tool, or like nunchucks were
Yeah.
basically like a scythe that you use like a machete to like chop down crops. Kunai were this multi-tool that were basically used as shovels and also throwing knives.
Yeah.
There's like several instances throughout Asian history of gardening tools being implemented as weapons and reworked into weapons, and that's where you get like all of the goofy kung fu shit that like
Yeah.
they sell at anime conventions now.
Yeah.
Not that I would know that. Not that I have a pair of nunchucks. up in
Yeah,
my
no way,
room.
no way, dude. Neither-
But
neither does-
that's
neither
a
does
cool
radio.
callback to like something that's actually in
Yeah.
real history.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. It was more or less just like
That's
that was
fucking sick, and that's how you
that
get
was
the-
like his tether to this world, which I guess also is very Japanese. Also,
Would you rather it be a little creature that lives in his hand and comes out?
no, I like the regular weapon. I was just saying the fact that like we don't really know how he gets a choice to come back. It was just like they just were like, yeah, well, he does.
I
And
really
he's
want to take
tethered
some
to the weapon,
nunchucks
which
to
is
the
like
field.
that's cool because like Oni do that or people do that where they're like tethered to spaces of murder or like weapons or you know what I mean. So like that was fine. I just was like,
Yeah,
I guess
could
but
be, or it could be there's some unknown like third party.
That's
in
what
the
I
nether
think.
realm. Who knows?
I think it's Quan Chi,
Could be.
and I think Quan Chi's going to do the same thing for Bihan to keep them fighting forever for whatever his reasons are. But I think
I
he's setting
would
them
too.
both up. I think he's setting them both up, but in reverse.
It could be.
Yeah.
Sorry, radio. I can go off on tangents all day.
No,
because-
it's fine. It's just that, like, this. Okay, so this kind of transitions into like
They also
the topic of like video game movies in particular. This movie should have been a TV show,
yeah. The
because
stakes wouldn't have been as high
right.
for me.
You can tell more stories. You can get away with more shit. and not feel like you have to throw out a bunch of fan service because of what it's like. Because I thought that part was weird, like a bunch of fan service, which I get. But I'm like, if there's like 6 more movies or however long, why throw all that in one thing? Like there were so many references like to like other characters. All right, cool. Will they actually come out?
Boy,
Like they
Nightwolf.
they better have Nightwolf in that bitch.
He's
Or
my
this whole thing is a
favorite,
fucking
bro.
failure to me.
Nightwolf is my favorite. That's my dude,
Shout out to the
man.
Native Americans.
Yeah, shout out to the Matoka Warriors, baby.
Right. Let's
We
get
live
it.
on stolen land. That's not lore.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Right, there we go. Stay woke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Umar.
Realize.
Realize the real lies.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Anyway, so this should be a TV show because, I feel like in general, just video game movies are just never a great idea unless it's for like you can tell it's for like a cash grab.
Well, I feel like if they're adapted better, they aren't. Because I really do feel like the first Resident Evil movie was a solid video game movie, and it was like barely even like, and Silent Hill, but they're neither one of them is like exactly like the game, but they somehow capture some sort of feeling or like tone or something like that.
Yeah.
Y'all get what I'm saying? Do you guys at least agree, or do
Yeah.
you not agree
Wait,
with that?
Resident Evil
Somewhat.
and Silent Hill?
I also just feel like what's the difference
Evil and Silent
between what Mortal Kombat is trying to do and what Marvel or DC universes are doing with their movies?
Mortal Kombat is like trying to rush through that shit, bro.
I don't think so. I think like how many iconic characters didn't even appear in that movie? How many like different storylines exist that
so
like
many.
they didn't touch on?
So
There were no cyborgs.
no
There's
cyborgs.
there's no Nighthawk.
So
there's
there's
no
no
Johnny
cyborg
Cage until it was basically like we're
initiative.
going to introduce him in the next movie. Little hint at the end.
Okay, I will say I am a bit confused because I don't know what's Easter eggs and what's leading, because like they showed Tava and Della or whatever their names are, the they were in Armageddon, like Dagon and Tavon or whatever, the brothers. And they showed the
yeah.
mom and the dad, Argus, the god dude Argus. They showed pictures of them, like in the when they were showing like the little tablets and stuff. And I was like, are those Easter eggs? Are they like actually saying all this shit happened?
Bo Ray Cho was mentioned.
Yeah.
Yep,
And I was like, so
exactly.
are they saying all this is canon and they're gonna like slowly? Because that'd be kind of neat. And it's like,
Which,
okay,
to that point, the whole like again going back to Mortal Kombat's development, all of the lore was basically developed on the fly to adapt to like a lot of times rumors. Like Ermac.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Ermac started as like someone wrote a letter to like GamePro magazine or some shit that was like, "Hey, does anyone know how to unlock this secret red ninja named Ermac? I found a picture of it in a Polaroid in my cousin's basement. How do I unlock this secret character?" It was bullshit. It was like fake. But then like Ed Boon just took hold of that and like the developers basically just added him as a character after a few more games. And if they do that, if they just kind of like get creative with it as they go and they see what do people like, what are people responding to? Oh, they want Kung Lao to come back? All right. When we sit down and write the next story, maybe we can figure out a way that it makes sense for Kung Lao to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, people want this character. Maybe we'll find a way to like, work him into the story in a somewhat sensible way. It's not going to be flawless. It's going to be silly. But I think that there's at least the open door to like they can do all kinds of different things from here on out, depending on what people respond to, what they want to do.
What do y'all think of his question from earlier?
What?
Which one?
The difference between
The MCU and DC and MK
well, not even just
Yeah.
specifically like MK, but like in general.
comic book movies versus video game movies.
Yes,
I've
'cause
had this question for a long time. It's like, how is it so fucking hard still to make a video game movie? And why do people give video game movies flack when comic books are just as ridiculous?
Hold on. Video game movies.
But people are always like, "Oh, dude, it was just a video game movie." It's like, I hate that gets that tag. It was like, dude, like lighten up.
Like it's an excuse for it to
yeah,
be
I was
bad.
like that, but it doesn't have to be, because like comic book
I
movies.
agree.
Bro, let's talk about comic book movies before Marvel, before like the Batman movies were taking off. Like, tell me some like good, well-made comic book movies from like the early 90s or earlier.
First 2 Blade movies.
Early
That's
90s.
early 90s. Neither one of those.
Was that 2000s?
The second one was 2000. The first one was 90.
So, early
maybe.
90s.
I don't know.
Okay.
Also,
so
that's still kind of dicey where there was like before they were doing like the bit. I love the Blade movies. 1 and Trinity are like but it's like
Trinity, the third.
dude, I fucking that's clowning. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
It's like so bad it's good.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's corny.
But
That was kind of a rough spot in comic book movies where there's like some good ones, some bad, but like they're definitely not the like masterpieces that they're recognized as now. With
well, that's what I was so confused about, because it was like there's been a long time coming, and a lot of time in between now, and even some of the games, even when the game stories like Mortal Kombat, for example, Mortal Kombat 11 story is technically shitty. It is. I enjoy it, but it looks and feels really good in comparison to the movie. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. It's like, I feel like they have a basis or a groundwork to be better. But I feel like this movie did feel just on par with movies from back then, where it was like still this primordial like era of like, how do we even make this shit like not Burton's Batman, you know, or Schumacher's Batman. Because you're right, in that early age, just like there was nothing. I mean, you got like fucking Dolph Lundgren's Punisher. I like that movie a lot, and I think it's hammy and shit too. But I feel like something about that still felt less offensive than this movie.
Is it because we're transferring images from a comic book to a screen versus like?
But Mortal Kombat has comics, and so do most video games, and they have novelizations that expand on the stories.
But were the novelizations from the game though?
Oh, some of them are like around it before and after, and then during. But yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like the novelizations sometimes are just adaptations of the game itself, anyways.
What you think, Esco? You about to say something?
Me? Oh yeah. Okay. I was about to say. So him saying like, you know, it's like Ermac, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like some dude's like, yeah, there's this character that I saw, blah blah. Almost like in the same vein, not to get off topic, but it reminded me because like I was trying to figure out like, you know, Secret Wars and like Marvel shit. Come to find out, the whole reason why they made the Secret Wars war was so they can sell freaking action figures and toys.
Totally.
I
was so disappointed. I was like, what the hell?
What do you think Star Wars is?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Speaking as a huge Star Wars fan, it's
Transformers?
all to sell toys.
Yeah.
It's all like,
It's Enterprise. Like,
I'm not mad at it either.
Transformers
Yeah.
is the same way.
Transformers
So
is
is
that
G.I.
I mean,
Joe
yeah. Like those are like, yeah, those were just fucking
Yeah.
like
That's
a whole
fair.
like selling gimmick. But it's like you have comic books, man, and they're like, all right, well, we want to, you know, get these things out there in people's hands. So get like your best and notable heroes and just teleport them into this world and just have shit go down.
Yeah, man.
I was like,
Motherfuckers wasn't
What the fuck?
purchasing that Beyonder figure.
although it did bring out more characters and more like they actually did try it, and it was actually pretty. There's like other story arc that kind of came along with that, and that was actually pretty fucking dope.
yeah,
So-
that's kind of a common practice is like, I know the early days of Batman, especially, all of the story arcs were basically shaped by people being like, okay, write into the comic and tell us what you think happens next. And they would write the stories based on the feedback
Jason
that they
Todd.
got from, yeah.
Jason Todd is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Really?
There's a long history
People
of that
decided
where
for him to
like,
die. They didn't
you
like
know,
him.
creative storytelling and
Study.
creative storytelling, creative storytelling and like just economics and capitalism kind of like
Oof, yeah.
getting all tangled up together. Where like sometimes it's cool because
Entanglements.
like you do kind of get a chance to vote with your dollar a little bit, you know, where you're like, hey, I like this character. I want to see a whole fucking spin-off story with this character.
That's not bad, but it was.
Shout out to
But it
Jimmy.
can be
Jimmy
really
Woo getting a
corny,
spinoff.
where
kinda
like it
let
can be
down,
really
bro.
forced too.
I
Yeah.
was like, man, this whole
Okay,
thing was
so,
full of
like-
fucking toys.
I feel like personally there shouldn't be a difference between the quality of comic book movies now to this day and newer video game adaptations.
Well, there
should
shouldn't
not
be, but there is. Okay, so why is there a difference?
People phone
of-
them in because they know the bar. One part of it also isn't the creator's fault. If I was them, I just wouldn't even go along with it. Studios treat video game movies like the plague. They don't fund them. Like, I think one of the big issues with Mortal Kombat also they ran into funding issues.
And I feel these motherfuckers don't fucking play the game, honestly.
Yeah, and then you have
That's my opinion.
And then you have like executives and people also coming in, weighing in, and adding shit. I really feel like Cole was an add-in from I don't feel like that was the original creator, like the original writers. You think they was like, we need an exposition guy?
I could see there being like some strategy meetings over like, we want a new character, so we're kind of like starting with a blank slate and like people coming into this universe for the first time that we're creating.
Yeah.
They're coming in with this new character who's also discovering these things along with the viewer. Like, that makes sense. That's a story trope that's been done before and sometimes been done well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one thing I did like about I don't think like the Fox X-Men movies really hold up that well. And I don't really like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But it was a good strategy to kind of like put you on the same side as this outsider who's kind of like a freak and doesn't understand why, and you're discovering all the other mutants in the school through him.
Yeah.
It's like that's been done well.
So as a kid I actually used to get mad about that. About him.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he wasn't a good example of that, but for me, I was always like, even you tell me these stories start anytime his punk ass come back to the mansion. Yeah. Every time he comes back, the story starts like, who cares?
There's way too many X-Men for it to.
That's the thing. Is like,
because he's super popular though too. That's why.
And exactly. That's when a studio wanting money dictates too much.
Yeah. So
that's when it's just like they just throw out all the creative, interesting stories that you can't tell with Wolverine alone, let alone all the other mutants and the whole relationship dynamics between them. And like they throw all of that out because they're like, well, if we don't have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, this movie will not do well. Yeah. They were just so cynical that they could do anything good without him as Wolverine.
They do that shit a lot. And so so that's what I was like, I feel like video game movies don't get the green light that they need. There needs to be somebody to give them some. They need a handout, man, for real, because they have a bad track record from several video game creators who rode the wave of like, or video game movie makers who rode the wave of like, oh, they're shitty, so I can just make shitty movies. Like, he who shan't be named, the Blood Rain guy, Uwe Boll or whatever, the guy who did House of the Dead, all those movies. So he specifically doesn't care. Those specifically are used as cash grabs. Right. And like tax write-offs and stuff like that for him. Honestly. And that he like ruined like a decade's worth of like video game legacy. Like he soured the taste in producers and in people's mouths, and he created a stigma. But I feel like
he funnels money.
Paul W.S. Anderson is kind of he's an idiot, and when he was single he did better, but
Event Horizon though
exactly, and the first Mortal Kombat, and then he did also Resident Evil. Yeah, but he did do Monster Hunter.
Oh my god, bro. Okay, we can.
We can skip that one.
No.
We don't need to talk about the
bro. That
we told him to watch it.
That movie made no fucking sense, and I don't know how to feel. I'm like, what movie was this? Like, what game did they base this off of? Because this is not Monster Hunter. Like, I don't know what that is.
He based it off of being horny for Mila Jovovich and just like trying to find as much,
like she really fought
as
Tony
much
Jaa?
her. Like, wasn't there a scene of her just like throwing? There's just like some dumb shit. Oh yeah, doesn't she like beat every monster by like throwing something slightly flammable in its mouth and then it explodes?
Pretty much.
I mean, a freaking Rathalos,
which
right?
Is a fire,
a Rathalos.
Yeah,
they
really.
Said, it's weakest before it breathes fire. Like, bitch, where in the freaking Hunter's Guide does it have? Oh, before it blows its fire, that's when you can strike. It's like, no, its weakness is fucking dragon and ice,
which is so strange that they decided to fight so hard and make a huge campaign about how accurate the models were for each creature. Yeah, and they did a pretty good job, but they decided to do that. It's like, how hard would have been for the story's sake to not just poke it in the mouth with fire? Like, bro, it's such a weird like.
And there's something really beautiful about the Monster Hunter series that like Shadow of the Colossus and a lot of other video games specifically. Like, there's some movies that have kaiju and stuff, but it's like there's like a kind of like rich history now of video games where they put you as the player in these like massive environments, and then you are tasked with beating this huge creature. Yeah. And that's where like the beauty comes from, is seeing like there's this gigantic frightening creature that is way more powerful than me and has this whole backstory and history that goes back farther than I do. And you're tasked with like, okay, go beat it. And it's like this incredible moment when you actually do triumph over those monsters. It's this like emotional moment a lot of times. And it's basically like Paul W.S. Anderson was like, yeah, but you know what's more awesome is my hot wife, dude.
My wife.
And I don't know how many.
that's his wife?
Apparently, there's enough people
That's what
that were
she's in all
just
his
like,
movies.
yeah, you're
that
right.
makes a lot of fucking sense
totally.
because, bro, she
she's
was not a freaking monster hunter.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
She also wasn't part of the Raccoon Police Department.
Yeah,
or anything, but decided to steal
Okay.
Ada's
Yeah, because her
dress.
character was Alice was like
Not real.
non-existent in the video games.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Not real,
bro.
That's the thing. It's
she
like,
was a cult. She was Cole Young. But
Yeah.
I really still in the first movie I didn't hate her though. I
yeah,
was
it didn't.
confused.
It
was like,
didn't.
why she
It
dressed
did.
like
It worked.
I was
People
like, why-
loved it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was
yeah.
like, why is she dressed like Ada, but isn't Ada? Who's this random Alice character? But I was like, I get it. They're creating this like the mansion configuration as like an Alice in Wonderland, almost like allegory in a way.
Yeah.
But it was silly in certain ways. But it was like I didn't hate her.
And it also
will-
gives them the.
He was bad. They made him punch ice at the end of the movie.
Yeah. It also
Shout out to Chris Redfield.
it also gives them the opportunity to have like at least one more moment of like, and guess who's back? Ada Wong.
Yeah.
Because if they cast Ada Wong as the main character or Jill Valentine, you'd be like, well, yeah, I know Jill Valentine's in it.
Yeah.
But now that they do, and they like finally introduce her in one of the like the third movie or whatever,
Yeah.
that's like Jill Valentine. You're like, fuck yeah! Take all my money. I'll see the 8th Resident Evil movie.
Dude.
It works, and
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah.
I will say though, like to answer your earlier question, Radio, like one of the big arguments for why video game movies have always struggled compared to comic book movies is that like the appeal of comic books is the art to a certain degree, but it's also like there's a writer that focuses on the story. A lot
That's
of
kind of what I
times,
was thinking of. Those
yeah, and a lot of times the writer and the artist or the team of artists are separate people. There are graphic novels and stuff where like they're one and the same, but that's kind of a rare exception, especially with Marvel, DC, big superhero movies that got adapted. And so with that, they have all of this lore, all of these stories that have been written over decades.
Right.
Coming up on like 100 years now
It's
of
literally
like Marvel stories that
it's-
they can
it's
just
mythology.
pick from. Yeah, they can
It's
just pick
literally
from
Western
any of it.
mythology.
Insane.
They can pick and choose existing stories to develop what resonates with them. They can change things based on like what culture will respond to in the moment. Like
That's very true.
Spider-Man, the way that he turns into Spider-Man, the fact that changes based on like what the big threat of like that time period is. Like first it was a radioactive spider, and then in like the Sam Raimi movies, I think it was like a genetically altered spider, because that was around the time that we started doing like the Genome Project and all this weird science coming out of like genetics. So it's like whatever people are paranoid of, that is what gave Spider-Man his power. And like there's these ways that you can take existing stories and get all the best ideas from that, and then add your own and like develop something really unique and rich. It's basically like teaming up with decades of other people who have worked on this too.
Right.
And
versus-
in video games,
Yeah, they don't have much to pull from.
well, what's
No,
the
Mortal
central
Kombat
appeal
has
of
now.
especially early video games is like, I'm not playing this because I want a story. In fact, this might be a hot take, but I don't really like games like The Last of Us or like really story heavy AAA games.
Really?
I'm just kind of like, I'll watch a movie or a show, or like if I just want the story, then there's like easier ways to consume that than buying a $60 game and maybe even like $20-$30 of DLC to get the full story. And like just make a show or a,
So
a
you
movie.
must
For those, I just get straight on YouTube.
But
So you
but a
must
lot
have
of
hated
times
Metal
like
Gear Solid 4.
I did not like Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 2 was like that was when it was getting to be a little bit much, and basically after 3 they just tacked on more and more and more. But
okay.
but there's been kind of, especially in the mid 90s when the first Mortal Kombat movie came out, it was like there wasn't really much to go off of with storylines in video games, and that's why you had absolute fucking abortions like the Super Mario Brothers movie, where they just had to
I do like that
make
movie,
up
but it's
a
so
bunch of
bad.
reasons why turtle people and plumbers were in this magical land shooting
my God,
fireballs
that
at
shit
each other.
was so
That was why it was so bad. Is they
I've
were
never
like
seen this
I
movie.
love that movie. It's so bad though.
They're trying to make
they were like,
sense
we
out
got to
of
make all of this
everything.
make sense, and that's where you get
You
the
know, I've
beginning
never
of
seen it, but
like
I've
the
seen some
origin
clips.
story being the single most important thing
I'm
in
not surprised.
all of these movies, right? Where it's like there's so many corny ass comic book and video game movies where they're just like, yes, but what's the origin? And you're like, I don't care about the origin.
Yeah,
you don't
it's like
need to
you
explain to
just
me
start-
why Mario makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
bro.
That's not why I'm into Mario.
He's a freaking Italian plumber with a bad bitch that keeps getting stolen by some lizard motherfucker with like
Stolen.
with like
Alleged.
skin problems.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Shout out to Entanglements.
yeah, bro. She's always getting caught up in entanglements, man.
Yeah.
And that dude got like kids.
Yeah,
Mario,
they gave Jada
and
Pinkett so much
Luigi
shit, and then
Mario.
here Peach go just, oh no, Bowser captured me again.
But-
Oops.
The
Right, we know what
princess
that's
is
like.
in another castle. Meanwhile, she's like like rappelling out the window, like, don't shut the fuck up.
Damn, I didn't think he was gonna get past level 4. God damn.
Don't
But
snitch. I love
okay,
you,
so
Bowser.
here's one thing that I will say. Right, there's like The Witcher 3. Thank God they did not make that into a movie because I play that game. I'm not a big fan of like you, Dorian, like story driven games like that. But The Witcher 3, that game was absolutely amazing. The story was absolutely captivating. Like I was literally, cause like I owned that game before I even played it for like I owned it for like a whole year, and I'm like I don't really want to play this game. Like it's a fucking investment. But one day I was bored. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and give this game a try. Played it. Hour later, I'm like, I gotta find out what's gonna happen next. And then next thing I know, 4 hours into this game, and I gotta go to bed. But I ended up beating the game. Fucking dope. I'm glad that Netflix decided to make a series out of it, because if they made a movie, it would have been fucking hot
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, they got the opportunity to do all the interesting side quests that people love and like just go anywhere they want with it.
Well, do you
Yeah.
think it would have been? Do you think a movie would be bad after, like the show builds up to a movie, almost like how the MCU is doing a little bit?
It could be done correctly.
Like just it handles a specific arc or like specific mission.
Yeah.
With the
Demon
context.
Slayer, like season 1 is
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
some episodes, and then season 2 is a movie, and then the
Dragon
next
Ball
season.
Z.
Well,
Yeah,
Dragon Ball
Isaac.
Z
It
kind of
sounds,
did
it
that
sounds like a
back
whole
in the
bunch
day,
of
right?
fucking
Yep.
propaganda to me.
That's what, so that's kind of the question I was asking. Is like,
So it's like,
Mortal Kombat 2, or-
Said the Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
listen, I just run around and just shoot people, bro.
6 days in Fallujah.
So does the American Armed Forces. Look into it.
Can that be the intro?
Yep, that's the intro.
Shit, go, baby.
Let's do it.
You're just gonna get so many people pissed off. Don't ever invite that white boy back to your fucking podcast ever
We're gonna
again.
get so many emails that we don't check.
Hoorah, baby.
Well, okay, so I do think it's kind of tricky though. With okay, so actually, no, I don't even think my beef is supposedly like with video game movies. I think it's my beef with like video game movies from fighting games in particular.
Oh no.
Oh.
Tekken, Dead or Alive.
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
I enjoy Street Fighter, even though it was bad.
It's very
It was
bad.
bad.
It's like weird because it's like
that weird heat wave attack. I don't know what the fuck
let
that
us
was.
never
Are you talking about Sonic Boom?
Yeah.
I feel like
Dowsum, not even a fighter.
okay, so let me get more specific. I think video game movies from fighting games should be more of a TV show than a movie.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That to me makes more sense because like, and which thank God and cross my fingers they'll never fuck up Soul Calibur like this, because if they were to ever decide to do something like that, there is like a bunch of fucking lore in Soul Calibur that they could easily do into a TV show.
Weren't they supposed to make like a Link or like a Zelda movie or show?
That's been like rumored for like at least 10 years.
That's interesting because I was gonna point out The Witcher. You're absolutely right. Like there's so much material for them to do an entire series. Just
Yeah.
like follow Geralt on whatever adventures and side quests they want to do forever. They can make that series run forever and still be interesting.
Honestly.
When you play Zelda, even a game like Breath of the Wild, like one of my favorite video games of all time, and also an open world game with a lot of side quests like The Witcher, I think that at best they could make a movie out of it, but I don't think any film or TV adaptation of Zelda is going to be any good.
Probably
Because
not, no.
The Witcher has these fleshed out characters that like they were I mean, they're originally novels, right?
Yeah.
It was like
Oh, was it? I didn't know
these
that.
are
Yeah.
these fleshed out
before.
characters that were like written out in all of these scenarios and then adapted into a video game that happened to be a really fucking good
And it was
video game series.
fucking
It was a
good.
good translation.
I still haven't played it. I wanna play it.
Zelda from the ground level is just like they built it as a video game. And the and going back, like, because comic books are meant to be read and you read these storylines and know these characters, it's a very different appeal from video games, especially early video games. Now we're in this era where it's kind of a blend, right? You get like some movies or some video games that are like all about the story, and maybe the gameplay is even really threadbare. Maybe it's like a visual novel. But then you get other games where like the story just doesn't, it's like not there. It's just like there's enough for you to be like run to the other side of the screen. You're Mario's fucking plumber fireballs. Who cares? Do you need an explanation? Just go. Just go.
Oh, this thing has a whole fucking lore.
Yeah, it was this
But
guy,
yeah,
Did
there's like the whole
play
range in
season-
between,
The
right?
new season.
So now we're in
I think I only played like 10.
we're in a kind of weird era where like
and not to play Wars.
in 1995 when you get like Super Mario Brothers, Mortal Kombat, the Street Fighter movie, all of that shit. That was an era where like there was next to nothing lore wise going on that they had to work with.
Right.
But now we're in this era where you got a grab bag where like some video games you do, some you don't. I would argue that like even with all of the lore that's fleshed out in the Zelda multiverse, if you want to get into
Yeah,
it,
honestly.
it's still like, do you really want to like watch that explained in a movie?
No.
Because the appeal of that,
It's different.
especially Breath of the Wild, is like exploring and discovering things that work in different situations, or even in the older games of like exploring and finding items or having this dungeon where you have to solve puzzles. It's like, how do you translate that
That's a good point.
to a movie in the same way that like The Witcher totally makes sense as a movie?
Right.
And I would argue that like out of all of those old school games that got adapted into movies, Mortal Kombat was probably your safest bet in actually having enough material to work with to make interesting stories.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good.
I
point.
love
a really
Street
good
Fighter.
point.
I actually love the Street Fighter series
kinda does
way
toe the
more as a
line.
video game series than
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Same.
But I gotta tell you, like, it's all it's all racist stereotypes. That's all
Yeah.
Street Fighter has been
Yeah.
arguably up until like the past few years. But even still, it's like,
Shout out
yes,
to-
he's
Shout out to
from
Balrog.
he's from the Middle East. Like his name is Rashid, and he wears a turban and a backpack. And you're
Hey,
like,
he's
all
pretty-
right.
he's pretty
This is
tight,
a turban in the back.
Yeah, he's fucking sick, but literally every single character in Street Fighter, they're like, we need a character from every character in Street Fighter, they're like, yo, we need a character from India. How about he does yoga?
Yeah, how about this stretchy motherfucker?
That's it.
They
That's
did
the
do
whole
that.
character.
They did.
and then,
do that.
yeah, and then they're just like,
But it's like there's not enough there to actually make a compelling story. But then you got Mortal Kombat, and it's like, yes, a lot of it is corny as fuck, and don't try to explain it. But then there's other stuff where it's like, okay, there's a rivalry between these characters, and Kano and Sonya have a rivalry, but sometimes they might work together because if you can get Kano on your side by like appealing to his selfish nature, there's that.
Yeah.
Is Bihan a good guy? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
how much of Bihan's humanity is left in him after being killed and resurrected all these times and
And
being
working
switched
with
around in
Shang Tsung.
bodies?
Yeah.
What makes you human anymore at that point? Like, you can actually go
That's-
some interesting,
dope.
interesting places with like all of these characters, and there's some like material to work with, even though it all started as just this goofy series of like a bunch of friends got together and they were like, let's take photos of people doing kung fu and then like
yeah,
Photoshop them
let's
into
get
well, it
Jean
wasn't
Claude Van
Photoshop,
Damme
but-
in there too. Why don't we?
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good.
Yeah,
point.
but
That's a
it's
really
like
good point.
we're now, you know, obviously they ran out of material and they made Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But now we're in an interesting time period where like in the same way that like Marvel had that turning point where they started building toward the Avengers, like they started having their flagship like Iron Man and Captain America. It's possible, like I don't know if Mortal Kombat's going to be that series, but it's possible that we're going to start getting some video game adaptations that are along those lines of like this is what turns the tide from
That's
us
what I'm
like
hoping
just
for.
being dumb genre
That's
entertainment
what I'm hoping for.
to like now we're going to start telling compelling stories with these characters.
That's what I'm hoping for because,
And
like I
then-
said, even this Mortal Kombat movie had inklings of that with it following Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the very beginning, and in that arc at the end. It literally was like if there was a movie in between, and this shit was happening around the rest of the stuff, and then they kind of just focused on that, and then had this like thing on the side and make the story more streamlined like
That would've
that.
been dope.
While that stuff was still happening, of course, and like even
Yep.
still being a part of it, it's like, well, you guys, and like even having maybe Shang Tsung trying to win Scorpion to his side, or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, or you can come back if you kill Cole, you're da-da-da. Because, people thought that he was going to transform into Scorpion anyways. Like,
I'm
have that
glad
as
he didn't.
fun hint. And he's like, no, it's not going
That's
that
what I
way.
thought,
like
too,
a subversion, but like, I don't know. I think there was that beginning part of that movie made me feel exactly what you were saying. It's like, they can do it. The beginning of that movie was like, they can do it. It's happening. Like, it's happening right now. They're doing it. And I was just like, damn. It kind of slowed down and went. They did the hero's journey.
They're totally Hollywood.
some
the
other
fuck
stuff.
Oh,
out of
for
it.
sure. Because
Which
it's
is
one
like-
movie,
Yeah.
But here's a question for you. As interesting and fun as the first Iron Man movie was, did you get any indication at all that was going to lead to things like WandaVision
No.
or Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Wait, what do you mean?
When I saw Fury at the end, I never thought that they were actually going to do it. And then I was
Yeah.
like, they're actually doing it. After you start seeing them more and more in other shit, I was like, wait, they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
They're actually going to do this. And that it blew my mind. And then they did it, and it was great, and they haven't stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, there were Easter eggs that made me think they were going to do that.
I didn't think it was real because we hadn't had a single Easter egg in any Marvel movies yet that actually carried weight. They were always like fun little things at the end. Because even X-Men 3 had one, but they never did anything with it. When at the end where Professor Xavier wakes up in that body, and he's like, Mora, and she's like, Charles, and then just that's the end.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't do anything with it
Yeah.
because 3 doesn't go anywhere.
I totally forgot
So
about
it's
that
like
one.
they had all these.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of them that actually led to anything. Blade was the first one that almost did, which once again, thank God for Blade. Blade actually would have set the tone for it because Morbius was supposed to be at the end of Blade 1, and the producers in the studio said no. So there's a deleted scene with Morbius on a building far away after they leave the fight with fucking Frost, and he was supposed to be the character in the next movie that they were going to fight, and then
That
it
would've been
came out.
tight.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about it. Y'all should look into it. It's really. I was like,
That would've
so
been
they would have
dope.
been the first to do the stinger that actually led to something that I can think of. But most other movies, it was just like that's just a dope Easter egg.
God, you're getting me excited about I
know.
want I'm not into Marvel shit,
Yeah.
like obviously nearly as much as you guys.
Yeah.
But man, Herschel Ali as
Bro,
Blade,
tell-
please don't fuck this up. Please,
When we come-
I'm
I
skeptical.
need
we
this.
we should do that in a separate episode because this man his like uncertainty about that is enough for a whole nother episode. You should just come back for that one because
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah,
skeptical.
I'd love to hear that.
Blade should get his own episode because that is the most anticipated and excited MCU film I am excited for in this decade because I mean it's coming out within the next 10 years.
Bro,
and
Blade
I'm
was
just like,
Blade was literally the first Marvel movie without the Marvel intro or Marvel logo on it.
Without it,
yeah, they didn't put it until the third one.
Yeah.
The third one got it. The other ones didn't have it. It just said AV Arad like, and then it said like Marvel.
It was
not like, but it didn't have like. The
I don't pay attention to corporations.
yeah,
you know?
hell yeah, dude.
I'm just like trying to purify my life of corporations
in the
influence.
waters of Lake Minnetonka.
I haven't watched an ad in 15 years.
That'd be impressive.
Dude, that's impossible.
But dude, okay, so one game, Hitman, Agent 47. Whenever they made that movie adaptation of it, that's how I knew that Hollywood did not give a fuck about the whole game. Like they never fucking played it, never even fucking. All they knew was like, oh, this is a guy who just kills people.
It was like shade that nigga's head,
cool.
bro.
Cool. Let's go ahead and put a girl so that way that's like his love interest. Like, bro, Agent 47 is a fucking weapon. He's a tool. Like,
Yeah, I was like, was there a chick in the game?
no.
I was like, I don't
Bro,
remember
he
that part.
literally goes to places like, okay, here's your objective. You need to go and get this person. And either A, you can be stealthy and just take out one person, or you can be a fucking maniac and kill everybody, or you can play like an agent. So it's like those are your options.
Right. Yeah, I haven't played the newest Hitman, but my understand like the way people talk about it is like all the silly shit that you can do.
Oh yeah, you can do a lot.
Like the whole appeal of the game is not like who is Agent 47? Well, if you follow his backstory, he's actually a Russian whatever the fuck.
Is he right?
Like nobody cares about any of that. I don't know. I just made that up. I pulled that out of my butt, and
sounded
what I
good.
pulled out of
You
my
sounded
butt
convincing,
out of
Alan.
nowhere was more story than they give you in the games.
That's crazy.
Because they keep the
Honestly.
mystery there because the appeal of the game is just like, here is a blank canvas. Do what you want. You want to kill somebody with a wet floor caution sign by chucking it like at 500 miles an hour at someone's head and just sniping them with it? You can.
These sound like Jackie
You
Chan
can do
movies.
that. Yo, have you watched like people just
They're
do this
really funny.
zaniest shit in these games and it's so fucking
I saw
funny.
them
Yeah.
put like a whole bunch of people in that meat press thing. That was incredible.
It's
That's
like
funny.
It was like hundreds of people.
you
They
should
carried
look.
them
You
all
should
up.
just watch videos because
Yeah.
it's honestly like imagine all of the like think about all the cool stuff that people discovered with Breath of the Wild's engine and the tinkering they could do with it
Yeah.
and making crazy shit happen. Imagine that, but instead of this game about exploration and like magic tools, it's a game about murdering people, and they just give you all of these creative engines with
Yeah.
which to kill
Creative
people.
ways to do it.
So there's
Jam
like glitchy, crazy, goofy shit all over YouTube and Twitch that you can watch. It's so good.
So yeah,
when are
but
they going to make a Turok movie? That'd be tight.
Yeah, I feel like that
Lou
would
Diamond
actually
Phillips
be
as
easy.
Turok?
Okay, you and this Lou Diamond Phillips, man. But I really do
How
want him
old
to
is
be in
he
another
now?
movie. Probably like
know.
60.
Oh, damn, never mind.
I mean, he probably looks great still. He's in Longmire.
That's like I heard somebody
Maybe 56 or
I'd
something.
like watch some YouTube video or someone was like, "Here's who I think they should cast as Johnny Cage in like the 2022 or whatever like Mortal Kombat sequel." That's right, Jean-Claude Van
I
Damme,
heard
and I
about
was
that.
like, "Bro, he is in his 60s or 70s at this point.
But then
let him rest."
I saw that and I was like, that's what all y'all fan service loving motherfuckers get. Because, like, they don't have to explain anything. It's funny, haha, because fan service, right? And I was like, I know that nobody wants that either, but I was like, that's what y'all get. They think that's a viable option because y'all thought it was fun that they put stuff in there that didn't make no sense.
Now wait. The actual rumor is that
Ryan Reynolds.
well, it's not a rumor. Like Ed Boon likes The Miz as Johnny Cage.
Gotcha.
That seems like a
Actually,
pretty-
I actually
it
would like that
fucking
one.
I mean, you're the
works.
wrestling fan. You tell me.
I saw Ryan Reynolds tweet about it too, but Ed Boon, actually fucks with Miz.
Yeah, when he said that, I'm like,
He
oh
is
my
perfect.
god, that's literally what
He's
the Miz.
perfect.
That's his
character is
gimmick.
now,
Yeah,
and
he's
that-
literally Johnny Cage.
I need like
the new
people
era.
to like get that to like fucking like we need to like petition the Miz.
oh, the Miz, the cocky motherfucker.
yeah,
yeah.
from the
Literally
real world.
Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that's him.
he would be fucking perfect.
Right?
Oh,
Spot on.
my God.
And he's not like high profile enough to where it'd be like they had to come out of pocket like crazy. I feel like most of their funding went to hiring
Probably yeah.
the dude to play Scorpion, to be honest.
Or-
'Cause even Joe Chaslin's like he's
also the
solid,
guy to
but,
play
like,
Sub Zero.
He's in. Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like you don't need to pay that much for him. He's fired, but he's
They
like in
did-
the raid and shit.
They did a
He'll
really
do
good
lower
job
shit.
of
And also-
basically, with the exception of Scorpion, they got
one
all up
show.
and comers in that movie.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm
everyone
saying.
who was in that first
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat movie, whatever they do after this, like I bet they're gonna show up in some more shit. Because like I hate Cole as a character. I'm like I don't give a fuck about this, and I think his whole motivation is like whatever. But Louis Tan is like an incredible actor, incredible martial artist.
Yeah.
Also, he's apparently like working on an independent production that's basically about his immigrant father. He's making a biopic about his own dad, and it's just like how fucking cool is that?
Shout out to Cole, but fuck you, Cole.
Yeah.
Shout out to Louis Tan.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
But
Fuck
fuck
you,
you, Cole
Cole.
Bolin.
There we go.
Oh wait, sorry. What?
Cole, we love you.
Yeah.
No, fuck you, J. Cole. No, I'm just. You guys will never bring me back now.
I bring you back all the time.
I'm joking.
Canceled. Canceling Dorian 2024.
Hashtag cancel Dorian, cancel pre-dead boys.
Oh god. But yeah, I do hope this does bring something out of that. I mean, granted, will this bring better movies? I hope. I'm not.
It just needs a chance, man.
It does, and I'm here for it. I will watch them, no problem. I'm not going to be like it's not like the Fast and the Furious series where I'm like, fuck the rest of this series, and then unless you trap me again and put John Cena in it,
Yo,
then
didn't
I
that
have to
nigga
watch
catch
it.
a car though?
But then you can't see it.
Boom.
That's true. He's gonna be looking around the whole time like, hey, well, yeah, I thought you
I
said
didn't see John the entire time.
Man, it's a black screen. What the fuck?
That'd be fire if they did that the entire time. But like I hope so, because it's like if this does well, then oh my god. Because if you're talking about like fucking pulling from like lore and shit, Soul Calibur's lore is deep and it has compelling story. If you like read this shit, it's like each person, they explain like why each person took like Soul Edge or Soul Calibur.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are certain characters where it's like, I'm a mother, I gotta protect my kids. I'm gonna fucking use Soul Edge to fucking vanquish shit.
And I haven't seen a movie that's had closed fist or open fist, well, weapons, like as like the primary combatant, like action sequences. I haven't seen that in a while, other than outside of like the MCU.
Yeah,
And
That'd be
then just like martial arts films, but like normal action films, people barely use weapons and shit. That'd be kind of sweet.
that'd be sweet.
I think it would be a bad idea to make a Soul Calibur movie, and I have legitimate reasons for it. And it's not at all, has nothing to do with the fact that I got embarrassed by radio playing
I was
Voldo.
gonna say Voldo. I was just great.
It has nothing to do with that, if that even happened, which it didn't. I just think like it's just not interesting, and you shouldn't give Soul Calibur any more attention than it's already got.
So if there's anything to take away from this episode is that I am the undisputed king.
And I am salty about it.
Yeah, I can't. Be
No, real talk.
can't
I
be
think that
either.
there's potential. It would have to. I don't know, because
You could honestly do
Tekken
it.
also has like an incredible amount of lore and history with the characters.
Yeah,
But
I'm a huge
that
Tekken-
movie sucked.
It sucked back. I think there was a sequel
Ass.
too.
Oh Jesus!
I
There
think
shouldn't
there
have been.
Was there?
Also,
Look it up.
I don't
think there was
think
a sequel. Look it up real quick. Tekken
it's
2.
it's kind of a weird thing that I don't
Tekken
fully
2?
understand
Yeah, the
too.
Tekken
Is
game.
like,
It's like Jen's
when does
Revenge
like
or
having a
something.
lot of lore contribute to like
With
a
the
story
game?
being interesting, and when does having a lot
Oh,
of lore
with
just
this
be
thing.
like I don't care
Yeah,
though.
too much,
Like
yeah.
I'm not really that invested in the Kizamas throwing each other off cliffs that like I need to see a movie about it. And Soul Calibur, I'm like I could see it, but I could also see them kind of doing the Street Fighter racial stereotypes thing and like not really doing anything beyond like.
Man, that
Sophia
shit
is
get
a
canceled
Greek
so fast.
character, and Mitsurugi, he's Japanese because
Yeah.
he's a samurai. See him with big swingy sword.
Yeah, good
Maxie
point.
is Bruce Lee. It's like if they don't do anything unique with those characters.
You know what's gonna happen though is that they're gonna how they're gonna fuck that up is on whoever they choose to cast Taki.
Who the hell's talking?
It's
Because there's
gonna
gonna
be
be
the
fucking
big
a
booby
riot.
ninja.
There's gonna be a
Yeah.
riot if they
Oh,
don't cast
her?
the right
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Kind of
Oh.
like how there was like
Stupid
riots about Lola Bunny and Space Jam. It's gonna be like that same thing.
Yikers.
Yo, why were people freaking out about that?
Oh, that's an entirely
Sweaties.
different episode.
Wait, okay, real quick. Can we?
It's just such fucking bullshit. I'm not a furry, but it's just such bullshit that they like made her boobs smaller. I'm not a furry though, but like, but I'm not a furry.
But I'm not.
Let's
a furry,
get one
though.
thing straight.
I'm not a furry.
I'm not a furry.
Holy shit!
Okay, so what are your like top 3 video game movies, if you can even search the recesses of your mind? Because some of them, and they can be guilty pleasures too.
Does it even go up to 3?
I feel like it has to be guilty pleasures. You know?
At that point, but mine
Yeah.
are mainly Resident Evil movies.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know which ones. I have to like. I don't know. Because I'm really sad they fucking.
After
Can we open it up to adaptations
Honestly, I don't have
of
any.
like TV shows, maybe an anime series, like stuff like that?
Sure. What do you mean, like
What are you thinking?
Mortal Kombat the TV show?
No.
Combat time.
Although I saw that there was some like relatively recent animated production that they had. I saw Quan Chi was in it. It was,
Scorpion's
like-
Revenge. It's
yeah, the
actually-
animation looked cool.
it's-
Like cool
so-
art style.
Watch it. It
Okay.
is it is exactly what I think this movie should have been, and I think they might have actually watched it and like watered it down. They even had some of the same characters, like Natara is in that movie,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's kind of weird. And they, like literally, like some of the same exact characters are in that movie, and I think you would like that movie if you like this Mortal Kombat movie. You like the movie. It's pretty dope. I actually like it.
Okay.
I actually like that movie.
Duly noted.
It was pretty gory too, so it's got everything you want. But yeah.
Dude, it's so fucking hard to think of like.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, recency bias. Like the first Mortal Kombat movie. It's even if it's not like one of your favorite movies of all time. There's no way you don't get hype watching the 19.
Techno.
I love like so years had gone by and it was like 2013, 2014, something like that. I'm over at my buddy Taylor's house.
Shout out Taylor Hicks.
shout out-
who did the artwork for the People's Podcast
Yeah.
logo.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Taylor Hicks is also just like one of the most enjoyable people to have a real conversation with, and also one of the funnest people to just get like stupid and hyped up with. I was hanging out at his house because we were both in school at the time, and I was like thinking I'm gonna go over there and crash for a little bit, like do some homework. And I'm sitting at a table and like pull out my books and stuff, and he's just like, "I'm about to watch Mortal Kombat," and then he like hits play, and I just hear Mortal Kombat on the movie, and he was like, "See." It's like, or no, he was just like, "Fuck yeah!"
That's so
And
dope.
I had to like
dope.
stop what I was doing because I was laughing so much.
He's so fucking.
Yeah, shout out
It's
to
so
Taylor,
good.
man.
It's so
Shout
like
out to Taylor Hicks, man.
Shout out to
he's-
Nicole for holding him down.
he's a legend,
Oh,
but also
man,
just
yeah.
like that movie fucking rips. It's such a like time
yeah.
capsule of exactly all the shit that was so fucking cool in 1995. Like if you were a kid in that era, that movie just like if you need to communicate to future generations, what was this shit that you were into as a kid? It's like just watch that.
Yeah,
You get a good idea.
man, we was beating the shit out of each other after we left that theater. Like it was
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, man, we was just socking on each other. For real, it was awful.
Yeah,
Trying
I
to do the
remember
actual
getting
fatalities.
I remember getting a detention for hitting a kid with a stick at recess shortly after that. So.
A stick?
That wasn't even. Yeah, he was just hurting people.
I mean, that might have been Mortal Kombat, or that might have been some. I don't know. I was listening to a lot of heavy metal and playing a lot of violent.
There we
video
go.
games at
That
that point.
seems more like. I was like, who had a stick in that movie?
But I like okay. Well, I like Resident Evil, the first one. Well, I like all of them, even though they're really really bad after.
Yeah, it's like.
But
yeah, I can't.
one and
stop
two,
watching them.
two's a guilty pleasure, but one I really like.
You think
Silent Hill.
You think two's the guilty pleasure?
Yeah, over one. Yeah, I think two is more accurate in ways, but it effectively like retcons some of the stuff the first adaptation
Like
laid.
four is the guilty pleasure.
Four is the absolute guilty
Is
pleasure
that the
of
one
the
where she's in the desert?
No, that's three. Four is Afterlife with Wesker in them. That's a guilty. So anyways, I like all of them, even though they're bad. I think number one is my like favorite like normal one. I think the ending is so fucking dope.
Yeah.
And then Silent Hill. And
I
then
saw Silent Hill.
my guilty pleasure. Well, one of my guilty pleasures is House of the Dead by Uwe Ball.
Wait, was that a game?
Yeah, it's the arcade light game.
Oh, bro, did you see they're remaking House of the Dead and it's going to be on Switch?
Yeah.
I'm so fucking pumped
Yeah.
for that.
It's like
I hope the dialogue is every bit as shitty.
yeah, yeah. They also had really slimy dialogue, but yeah, it looks spruced up. But yeah. So there's that. Those are mine. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I do like every Resident Evil movie.
Yeah,
Actually,
any
I
Resident
don't
Evil.
like the second to last. The one with Leon in it. Not because of Leon, but it's just 'cause that
They
movie
fucking
sucked.
miscasted Chris and Leon so bad. Fuck those guys.
So
Fucking C.S. Lewis, whatever the fuck his name is.
Does Advent Children count?
okay, so yeah, video game movies that have been animated, for some reason, those I feel like still have better stories than the live action. Have you noticed that? Do you agree? Because like, watch Scorpion's Revenge.
Would that count?
Let me know what you think, because
Alright.
it is a movie from a video game, technically.
And I'll say, too,
is a
there's-
movie from a video game.
There's a number of, like, I think about the Fatal Fury OVA is, like, not too bad.
Yeah, they're alright.
There's a Darkstalkers OVA that's, like, fun and has some really cool action sequences. The story doesn't make any fucking sense at all, but, you know, it's a fun watch, and it's, like, 4 episodes or something like
There's
that.
a couple Street Fighter movies that I enjoy also. There's the one that's like around 4, the movie. I mean the game that sucked, but like some of the ones that any of the ones that show Akuma, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm already drooling.
So are we saying that it
That's my
can
boy.
count? Because I guess I would want to count Avid Children. The issue is like technically it's a sequel.
Yeah,
yeah, which is even
that's true.
ooh, that's a really good point.
Yeah,
And
and it's technically canon.
whoa,
Yeah.
wow,
These are questions.
that was a
'Cause
good
I want-
fucking question.
That's because I want
So-
to count that. I want to count that, but I'm like,
So
is
it's
that
not.
technically-
It's
is that
not a
technically
video
an
game
adaptation
movie. Yeah, it's not a video game
If
movie.
it's
It's like
the
the
sequel to 7.
It's like the Animatrix or
Yes.
the Enter the Matrix also. I guess has tidbits of. So Path of Neo is different, but like Enter the Matrix has
was that a sequel to the movies?
kind of.
Okay.
Wait,
It's basically
which one was good? Was it
Ghost
Ghost
in
Neo or
Enter the Matrix is the one with Ghost and Niobe with like Jada Pinkett's character.
Oh, that one was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I like that one. Path of Neo is fun, but it's like batshit crazy.
Oh.
But it's a game, and it weaves in and around.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
technically
confusing.
not a well. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't even asking just to be a dick. It was just like I want to count that, but I'm like, since it's a sequel, does that really count?
Instead of an adaptation.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
I don't know.
I'm fucking stuck.
I do think that like, man, if they like come through with a God of War movie, it's almost certainly going to be entertaining and might even be really fucking good. Last of Us, I'm like, what are you gonna do that's not already like
Just
rendered fully in the game?
Just the
but I
game.
kind of thought that about Mortal Kombat also, and they like did a whole different thing with that. So like, I don't know. I think that like there's a lot of newer video games that are extremely story focused that I feel like they could make for some good, just like direct one-to-one kind of translation. I mean, think about a lot of comic book movies that were really well done, or like one-to-one, like frame-to-frame exact copies
Watchmen.
of the comic book. Watchmen to some degree, but definitely like Sin City and
Yeah. Sin City's way more than Watchmen. Yeah,
that's
actually- Watchmen
that's like basically
changes.
just using the existing comic as
Yeah.
the source material for
Shout
the
out to
script.
Robert Rodriguez, anyways, the homie.
Where it's like, that might be a bit of a turning point, is once some people can see like, oh, we can make some really good movies or TV shows just completely taking the story and running with it and like not doing anything different or weird with it. Maybe you needed a Sin City before you could get to an Avengers story arc. Maybe you need something like that before you can get to like, the first great adaptation of video games into movies.
I'm holding out, but I do have faith. I just think they got to pick the right ones.
Yeah.
And there has to be a turning point where it's like one where people are finally like, it gets the attention of like stupid, whatever. Because I'm probably gonna, I don't know. I'll probably support Mortal Kombat regardless as best I can, just for that very same sake. And I do feel like the sequel actually is going to be like, if they make it, I actually feel like it will be like way better. In my head, I kept thinking, it was like, I think the sequel will be like way better regardless.
I don't think it'll get good though until like 3 or 4.
For Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good if they do it. I think, like I said, if anybody comes back to life from this one, I do feel like that movie, the first movie, it's irrelevant. Personally, they should just start it where the second movie happens. I know you said that was crazy, but I just feel like
they are going to bring like at least half of those dead characters back to life.
So then, besides whatever like shallow character development that happened, that could have just happened in the next movie, what was the point? You know what I mean? Other than the Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Damn, did you say that about the line, the witch in the wardrobe, when they killed Aslan? You were like, well, what's the fucking point of killing him if they didn't bring him back?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end on that note.
Yeah, and I was like, that's dumb. Why they didn't?
Yeah, that was a dumb argument. I admit that.
I was like, yeah, why they do that?
Fucking wardrobe
Nah, he had to
conversation.
finesse her with that. I guess I would have to, if you're, you're right, or else I'd have to denounce being a Christian because no, he made a good argument. So it's not.
If you say that the first Mortal Kombat isn't good, then you're not a Christian.
If you don't like Pirates of the Caribbean 2,
But if you say it
you're
was
not
good,
Christian.
I love parts of the wait.
You have to, because Captain Jack Sparrow died and came right back. And if you think that was stupid,
He didn't. Two
then
or the
you're
three?
not a
The second one, he got
Christian.
gobbled up, bro. He was like munch.
Oh, he came back in 3. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I really like.
He was all like munch, and it was like, I named the monkey Jack, or however that movie
That was
goes.
the first one.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Double
Fuck
meat,
those
swallow
movies.
meat.
I'm just playing.
Well, on that note, I thought this was a productive conversation.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep thinking about that Advent Children part because that stuck me for sure. But maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe we'll come back and talk about why I'm so skeptical of Blade,
We will.
because I have some hope, but not a whole lot, based off of what I've read and heard. But that'll be an interesting topic as well. Obviously, you're welcome to join us whenever we have that conversation. I don't know when we're doing that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, so Dorian of Pre-Dead Boys, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, can
Just
I
lovely to
give a quick plug?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do
Quick
what you
plug.
gotta do, baby.
plug it in?
So
Pause.
so Oh,
No, go ahead.
moving right past that. Thank you for bringing me on. I assume that you brought me on because of my expertise about all things mortal and death.
Yeah. In combat.
And combat with the K.
I didn't
Combat a little bit.
didn't even think about that. But yeah, all right, yeah, yes.
Yeah, if you are not totally sick of hearing me talk, I have a podcast about death with my buddy Max. We talk about burial rituals and history of like weird science with death. Coffin torpedoes. You ever hear about coffin torpedoes?
Okay, you're
You know
definitely
what those are?
you're definitely coming back
I've
on
heard of it.
to talk
All right,
about
you
this
have
shit.
to listen
Oh,
to.
yeah, oh, yeah.
You can search for Pre-Dead Boys on like Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Doing another podcast crossover?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
epic crossover.
Yes.
We got to do one with the Blacklist first because we've been talking about it for at least 2 years.
Pre-Dead Boys is definitely the SNK to the People's Podcast,
See,
Capcom.
I told you. It makes so much
shit,
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know. I'm Leon.
Sure, yeah. Whatever you want, bro.
And yeah.
Well,
Sick. Thanks for having me on,
Faux
fellas.
show. And that will do it for us. It's your boy Radio SR.
Justice.
Esco.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Mortal Kombat!